Welcome to Brightly, You Radiant Being, the show that wildly recognizes, encourages, and invests in the radiance we all carry so you can shine your brightest. Each episode, we share soul-driven advice and topics to help you live more brightly in mind, body, and spirit. Through sharing our experiences, friendship, and passions, we hope to impact you to step more brightly into yourself, inch by inch.
Tracy, you divine radiant being.
Oh, Amy, I recognize your divinity as well. Hello.
Hello.
You are rather radiant.
And of course, we are talking about the last episode, trusting your own divinity. But how are you feeling? Like, how inspired have you been feeling lately?
Ooh, I just described it to my sister this morning as I have this mix of cabin fever and hibernation.
Okay, I totally get that. Because just today, I was literally like singing in my house. I love to be home. I love to be home. And then it was like, I like to go out too, but I like to do fun things, but maybe from my home. Oh dear. And
Amy, the amount of times the past 2 weeks I have said, October Tracy signed up today, Tracy, for this, and I don't think she's going to make it. I don't think she's going to go. I think that's $30. That's just October Tracy spent, and we're okay with that. It's already gone. It's not out of my pocket. I didn't have $30 to spend. And it's like, I was so excited this fall to sign up for cross-country skiing and like community ed paint classes and all this stuff. And then January happened.
January is hard and feels twice as long as most other months.
I was calling it, I was like, both this year and last year, which last year's probably for a different reason, but my lost month, and I was totally okay with it. That I think I've shared before. As much as I love New Year's and I do all that, I take January off from smart goals, right? Like whatever I do is an added bonus for future Tracy's life. And if I feel inclined and inspired, but it's not until the Lunar New Year when we're like, oh, it's Thursday. What are we doing with our life? Like, it's not how it goes. But with that last month mentality, and if you're not aware of what's happening or even kind of looking back, like I'm about to go somewhere tonight and I'm kind of dreading the what have you been up to question because it's not a damn thing. Like I have absolutely nothing to
tell you what you've been up to. Did you know that I co-host a podcast?
No, I did not. Tell me more. So, there are like, when I think about it, like I'm going to school, I'm doing the podcast, there are other stuff, but like, I don't have anything. It's super exciting. Not that this isn't exciting, but like, I don't have like anything like really driving like my day-to-day excitement. Like I'm kind of in that mundane, even when it's not January, like I've gotten into bad habits,
a rut,
a bit of a rut. When the pandemic started, I put a lot of rules on myself, still maintain a schedule, still, I had no aspirations or inklings. I didn't think that we were going to go back to normal in the same time frame everybody else did. I was a little bit more.
You had more foresight.
Yes. So I put a lot of rules on myself and like how I get ready for my day, what I did. And then somewhere in 2021, I was like, I'm just going to come back from my morning walk, not even shower, not change my outfit, just a little dry shampoo. And sorry, guys, I'm not using my camera today. And that just started happening more and more and more. And then when you're not going anywhere afterwards, what does it matter? Right. Like I, when reflecting and looking back, like do I get ready for other people or do I get ready for me? Right. Like I always dress to comfort. So it's not one of those things, just being comfortable during the day. Like my work clothes are just as comfortable. I got lazy, but it's because every day was exactly the same. Right. Like every day. Yeah. And I'm not even going to blame the pandemic because I go through, like you said, a rut. I remember like my mid-20s, my quarter life crisis. My favorite song was a 9 Inch Nails song. Like every day is exactly the same. And it's just like, It's this kind of grunge rock
Mm-hmm.
trudging along song. And at the time, I was at a job that I knew I was never going to grow in. I wasn't being utilized for my strengths. I didn't believe in the mission and vision of the company. Like it was a paycheck. The people I worked with were friendly and I liked them as people, but our core values and our interests, and I mean, I was the youngest person by 10 years and the only woman. And so there wasn't a lot to look forward to day to day. And every day was exactly the same. Do you ever
A,
have those?
a really horrible Groundhog's Day, right?
Right? A really horrible Groundhog's Day. And I feel like January and in the Northern Hemisphere, especially in Minnesota, winter can feel like that. Um, Especially if you're like me and you don't make yourself go outside if it's like you don't make yourself drive somewhere if it's snowing, if the travel conditions are bad, if it's 25 degrees below zero.
Right.
That's okay, maybe we'll use the treadmill today, but probably sit on our couch. And I feel like also if you ever go through depression, whether it's a major depressive episode or it's kind of something that's constant in your life, but like, what do you typically do? Or, I mean, have you ever experienced those, winter doldrums or anything where every day is exactly the same, or you just don't have a lot of excitement or enthusiasm for your day to day life?
Yeah, of course I have, but I feel like it's a little different because there's always something in me that's like, I have to show up for this person, or I have to show up for that person, or I need to like be super upbeat when I check in with my kids, or, so I think it's a little different, but still there is that doldrum day after day after day after day. And
And isn't it exhausting when you have to turn it on?
oh, yeah. It is exhausting when you have to turn it on, but sometimes I don't realize how exhausting it is until I'm done with the turn on and then it's turned off. And then I'm like, I need a nap. I just have to go sit down and not do anything for a while. But do you feel like that's just, I mean, is that because of the lives we're living right now? For the most part, there are plenty of people who have to go out every day and go to a job and
You
deal with
know,
people.
I've experienced it so many times in my life, just in different areas when it's either, the life I'm living isn't really congruent with what I want it to be, especially in your early 20s, right? When you just got to pay rent and eat food. But especially like and during those times when you do kind of have to put in the work to get the life that you want. So like grad school, right? Like, yes, I love learning. I hate academia, right? Like I really want to read this stuff. I don't want to prove to anybody what I've learned by writing a 20-page paper on my Sunday, right? Like
nobody wants to do that.
Right. So there's these aspects in times in your life when the majority of your life is your day-to-day responsibilities and requirements.
Yeah. While you were talking, sorry, all of a sudden I thought about each child when they were babies, and babies through like young kids. When you have babies, it can feel just like get up, feed the baby, change the baby's diaper, do this with the baby, do that with the baby,
Yes.
go over here with the baby, go over there with the baby, and talk about no shower.
And it's
And
such
like
a culture shock, right?
it
Most
is,
times every day
yeah.
is exactly the same isn't depression. It is just every day is exactly the same. I'm not feeling inspired in life. I don't have anything to be super excited about, right? Like right now, like a lot of people use travel. Like even if I could travel right now, I don't have the funds for it, right? And that's what I used to look forward to before. And right now, I have different goals, and I'm proud of those goals more than I'm wishing I had travel to look forward to.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I can't have like little trips, right? Like I could just travel 10 miles down the road and make it a thing, right? Like I could make that like let's learn all about Brooklyn Park today, right? Like it's all about kind of like you were saying, you were saying it more in like I turn myself on for other people or turn it on for other people. I'm thinking more like, can you romance yourself? Can you romanticize your life?
I am so in love with this. I can't even, it's like hearts are exploding out of my brain. And and my actual heart, because I just feel like it's so easy to say, well, this is just the way it is, or this is my life, or it's just easier to do it this way.
Toxic positivity. Like, yeah. I should be grateful. I should be this.
Exactly.
My life is fabulous. My life is wonderful.
When you say, can you romance yourself or romanticize your life? It's like, ooh, that brings up all kinds of possibilities to me.
So I have asked this question on social media. I've been flirting with the idea of romanticizing
I love it
my life.
You've been flirting with the idea
for over a year now. When I first heard about it, probably on social media, that I actually posted a question on Reddit. How do you romanticize your life? Because I was looking for inspiration.
Yeah.
There weren't a ton of comments, and it wasn't a woman-only forum. But the 20 to 30 comments I did get, all misinterpreted the word romanticize as romance, as in with a partner, like love, or making it relationship based. So there were so many, I don't need a relationship to be happy. And I was like, well, you might want to think twice about that, because that wasn't the question. Like, why was that your first thought? I think you're wrong. I think that is where your head is. But so I was really bummed, because I really wasn't getting what I wanted out of it. And so I think it's important, like, first, like, what is romance? Like, what does that mean to you?
Ooh, what is romance? And of course, we want to go like, it's this person doing this for me. But actually, if I step back from that, romance is creating something wonderfully special for, and in this circumstance, it would be for yourself. So whether that's an experience, a meal, getting dressed up, but it's creating something special.
I love that. That's so beautiful, because I do go to love, but I don't always associate love with any sort of relationship necessarily. I almost said romantic relationship, which would have negated this whole section of the podcast. But I think when I think of romance, I think of beauty. So I love that you use the word something special, but I think romance is very positive, and it's very intentional. And there's kind of an end game in mind, that you kind of, the hope is that you feel in love, or that you feel loving or lovey, right? Like, just like you were saying, hearts popping out of my head and my chest, right? Like, I just got hearts all over. It's kind of like Valentine's Day every day, right? So not the toxic positivity, but just like trying to view your life through rose-colored glasses, in an intentional manner, right? So you're not
using the good china for dinner. Like, why not? Right.
So how many things in our lives are we saving for other people? So like you just said, like, I will turn it on for my kids, or like, I'll show up in the world for other people. So like, how many outfits are you saving for a special occasion? How often?
Seriously.
Right.
I put a shirt on tonight, and if you're on YouTube, you still can't really see it, but it's this shiny kind of velveteen. Like, I haven't worn this shirt in probably, I don't know, 4 years.
And I dress like a pirate. I bought this shirt very specifically for first dates.
Really? Yes.
It's white and frilly puffy sleeves.
I love it. But that's a really good question, because so many things are left in my closet because I don't have any place to wear it to right now. And I can remember my mom doing a talk to women, older women, and her saying, why not dress up? Why not look good? And them saying, why? I'm not going anywhere. And she's like, for yourself. So right now in this discussion, I'm like, there you go, Mom.
So
there you go.
If you look for ways to make your day special, it doesn't have to be a big, grand thing. You can start really, really small when romanticizing yourself. So it's treating yourself like your own romantic partner. So like I've shared before that I'm learning if you think about those, the 5 love languages, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of controversy over them, but if you think of those, my love language, how I express love to other people, is acts of service.
Yes, we've talked about that.
The very last thing I want to do is cook myself a meal. So
know.
now I've started approaching it as, I'm going to cook Tracy a meal as an act of service for Tracy. I'm going to do acts of service for myself. So romanticizing yourself is like looking at your love languages. Let's say your love language is words of affirmation. Don't wait for somebody to tell you all the things you wish people would say about you. Just say it to your damn self. Like, journal it. Say it out loud before you go to. There was this guy at the start of the pandemic on TikTok that shared that every day for at least a month, if not a year, he recorded himself walking into the school in the parking lot, telling himself that he loved him. And that inspired me to end every day by saying, I love you, Tracy. Good job today. And just changing that self-talk. Like, how often do you ever tell yourself that you love yourself, right? How negative is the language you're using to yourself? Like, you can romanticize your day and make yourself feel special just by talking to yourself like you would want your lover to talk to you, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely. So this sort of ties into it, and it sort of goes along with like what I was talking with my mom and wear the good clothes and use the good china. She had a fire in her home. Wait, let me back up. She had these beautiful white fluffy towels, and she didn't use them because they're beautiful white fluffy towels. And her grandson came and lived with her for a while. And he used one of those white fluffy towels after he got out of the shower. And not only that, like left it on the floor. Well, Grandma Joan was like, what? This is for company. These are good towels. They're not supposed to be blah, 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 blah.
He made a guest feel bad.
But he was living with her. He wasn't a guest. He was her grandson.
Okay.
No judgment. She, depression era. These are good towels. You don't use them. Fast forward like 2 days, the towel is in the hamper, damp, right? She has a fire. Which towel is the only towel that survived that fire? The towel that had been used. You are correct. So that actually became a part of her talk.
Yeah.
Is like, don't put it off. Like, do the good stuff. Use the good stuff. What are you waiting for? Don't be ridiculous. Like, here, use the white fluffy towels, for goodness sakes.
So, not to say that I'm not materialistic at all. Like, I love my things in my home, and I choose them with intention, and I display them proudly. But I had a guest in my home. And I didn't have like guest bedroom furniture yet. So I gave him my bed and I slept on the couch. Mm-hmm. And I have a white comforter, white sheets. It's white on white on white, like the whole room, just white, very natural. And when he left, he didn't want to say it. I could tell he didn't want to say it, but he had to admit that like, I ate in bed and I got some food on the white comforter.
No!
And my immediate response, I was so proud of myself because I grew up, I'm going to put one of our listeners, my mother, on blast. We very lovingly had a room in our house called the Don't Touch Room. It was off-white, Southwestern, couch and chair, ottoman. The pets weren't even allowed in the room and the pets were white. Like, we never went in that. Even when we had guests, it was the Don't Touch Room. Like, I don't know what the purpose of the room was. Maybe she sat in it when nobody else was there. That furniture ended up, lasting forever. And then when eventually we did move and have less space, it did get but so I grew up in that world of you save nice things, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and you take care of your things really well. And by taking care of things really well, that means you don't use them a lot. And so I was so proud of the growth that I've had because I was rather materialistic in my 20s and rather broke, right? And so when he told me this, and it was via text, and I was just like, white bedding is a lot to ask of someone. I'm so sorry. I didn't have time to switch it out, like, and get something else before you came over. And it came out like I was like, white bedding is also some of the easiest bedding to wash. Like, if it is stained, I just bleach it. Who cares? Right. Like, and so it was just like, felt so bad that he felt like he couldn't tell me that he'd been holding on to this since almost his first night there. That he felt so guilty and shameful and was like, it's just a thing. It's just a thing. And when it comes to clothing, I used to save and save and save all these outfits and then never wear them. And then finally have an event where I could wear it. And I didn't want to wear it. I wanted something new. I wanted something specific for that event, for the trend, for this or that. Yeah. And so here this thing became donated. It became a waste of money and space in my closet for how many years? And I never even enjoyed it. And so now one of my new things during the pandemic is at least one day a week, whether I have plans or not, I'm going to wear a dress. The things I used to save for special occasions or like, because they took a little bit of extra effort, I'm going to just wear them at home and be damned if I see anybody else or not that day. Right. Like I don't have to do it for someone else. I don't have to parade around. It's not for show. It's for me. Right. I bought the dress because I liked it.
Right.
But so romanticizing your life is planning your day thoughtfully and slowly in a way that you just look forward to little things that don't take a ton of effort. So a really easy way to do that is to create really beautiful playlists to just listen to while you do your normal ritual and routine to begin with.
I love that.
Like you share your one good cup, right? Like, so you have your cup of coffee every morning.
And my cup of coffee, yes, there's a whole ritual that goes around my cup of coffee because, the oat milk has to be heated and then it has to be frothed and then there has to be cinnamon involved. And I take the time with that. And then I sit in a certain spot and I look out the window and I write my gratitude in my gratitude journal. And so I feel like that just kickstarts my day. And I never thought of that as being like romanticizing my life that way, but I feel like that is.
It absolutely is. And it's also, you're not doing it begrudgingly, right? When you do it that intentionally, you're doing it because this will help me have a good day. I really love this, so I'm going to do it. So it's looking for those spots in your days where you can create rituals around those things. So if you're somebody where you're like, coffee, I need my coffee to start my day, don't pour it as you're running out the door or don't take your first sip until you're sitting down to your computer, right? Like try and wake up a little bit earlier or just my mom has a very long getting ready routine that I grew up, I love. Like she has a vanity, she has all her stuff and she has I think she even has like a little coffee mug warmer and like, she just takes her time and it's like, she drinks her coffee, she listens to the radio, her favorite morning show, and she just gets ready slowly.
Oh, I love that.
I'm like, a bomb went off in my bathroom because I don't think to go in there until just before, like I know exactly how long it takes me to get ready for the day and then don't even have time to clean up, got to run out. And then the next morning I'm down there and I was like, oh God, I left myself a mess. Right. Like, and getting ready can be such, like you can romanticize putting your makeup on, what you listen to, just like that time that you get with yourself. Right.
I feel like too, like I feel like you were the first person who made me feel like it was okay to just buy flowers and bring them home and put them in a vase.
Trader Joe's, man. You can get flowers. Get flowers for like $3.99, $4.99, and they last a week. And sometimes I'll break them apart and I have tiny little vases. And then that way I have flowers in all the rooms I spend the most time in. And it just makes me smile. I know all these girls are, women and people who are like, oh, so-and-so never buys me flowers, or they only buy me flowers when they're apologizing or this or that. And I'm just like, girl, if you want flowers, buy your own damn flowers.
Buy flowers.
You've got $5. What are you waiting for? Right. Like this is great. This is easy to do. And then when other people see that you like it, you might get it, right? Like,
right.
It's not always the best hostess gift to give because you're kind of giving a task. But when I didn't drink alcohol, that was my go-to gift, was to bring the hostess flowers as like the thank you and whatnot. And everybody was always so surprised, right? And like, oh, I haven't had fresh flowers in years, or I, usually don't have this or whatever. And I was like, sunflowers make me happy. Why would I wait until somebody thinks to buy me a sunflower?
Right. When it makes you happy, Why not
And
make
then
yourself happy?
talk about making the mundane to beautiful. When I'm buying my groceries, I get a baguette and a bouquet of flowers sticking out of my bag like I'm in a movie.
Like I am a French girl.
I am the main character of my life. Look at me, my canvas tote.
I'm going to get on my bicycle.
I'm not quite there yet. I'll work on that.
Okay.
So I think I said playlist earlier, but what I didn't mention is sometimes like it can be really intimidating or time consuming to try and find the right music, right? And not like just music that you love, but something to have that feels romantic, but for you. I love movie soundtracks. So one of the things,
too.
my morning walks, they're already pretty me-based and spiritual in nature most of the time, but sometimes it is like, Tracy, you work from home. This is your only 30 minutes you're going to walk today. Like, get out there, get to it. So what I started doing is like the Walter Mitty soundtrack is really beautiful, or even like if I'm feeling like I want to romanticize and be excited about my life, but like I'm a little bit more upbeat, Pirates of the Caribbean is great for that. Like, just running through the woods, listening to these things, thinking you are the main character. And then you kind of look forward to it. And then like when you're coming home, like you're coming home with that coming home music from Lord of the Rings. Like it's just like a different feeling than I was listening to NPR on the way back. Right. And it's a different trigger for your brain when you hear those sounds like that. And I think it can help elevate your mood in different ways.
I love that.
When I think too of like what it means to be romantic, outside of having a partner, and what got me so frustrated with these people is like there are home decor styles, paints, wallpaper, furniture that is a romantic design.
Yes.
You think of Victorian in nature and the little teeny tiny hearts with flowers on them and things like that. There's romantic hairstyles, there's romantic clothing, right? Like there's all these different ways you can just kind of add that in, and then whenever you see that in your space, you're kind of reminded to take it slow. And
I think too, what this just got me thinking about is, and it's funny because I did put on a scent that I consider romantic. So what Tracy just turned away from the camera and she's getting something. No, I was just letting people who weren't viewing us know what was happening.
So what was your scent?
It's an essential oil blend, but it's got like vanilla and lavender and just these kind of soft scents. And I don't always do that. Like sometimes I don't do any scent, but a romantic scent that just sort of is calming and uplifting. How beautiful to have that around, on you, a scarf that is just sort of frilly and fluffy. And I don't know. I like this. I like this topic.
I love that a lot. Like there are all these different, like you were saying with your velvet top, like there's tactile sensations that feel a little bit more lovey and romantic than maybe something a little bit more abrasive. And how can you add those to your day-to-day life so that when you are sitting at your chair at work or something like that, you're catching a whiff of something that brings you back to that present moment. You're feeling something that brings you, you're seeing, smelling, tasting, like going back to, how my active service is cooking, dinner for myself. It's not just putting a frozen pizza in the oven and being like, good job, you fed yourself, Tracy. It's finding a new recipe and enjoying the process of cooking it and looking forward to trying something new or something fancy or trying to elevate a dish to be just a little bit better. There's what immediately when I was thinking about like romanticizing your life, one of the things I thought about too, because you can romanticize your life in a way that's for others, that's still about you. And what I mean by that is, have you ever seen the movie Amelie?
Yes.
And it kind of makes me think of my talk on like aggressive friendship from a while back. But she kind of like does these like romantic pranks to bring people together, to bring romance to other people's, right? To romanticize other people's days and to help them live life a little bit more beautifully, things be a little bit more special. And so I think of stuff like that, where you can do those random acts of kindness in a very romantic way to like inspire this in others too.
And I just really, really want to emphasize that romantic doesn't have to mean like a partner love type thing.
Absolutely. It's okay. I found what I was looking for. Why I turned
Okay.
But yeah, so absolutely, it does not have to be about that act of love in that way where it's union and doing things for other people or showing up for other people in a certain way to get them to like you more because you know that they like it. So one of the things I made a list when I first heard of this concept. I made this romanticize your life kind of list. There's not a whole lot on it yet, but like going to a thrift store and creating monochromatic outfits or picking a theme, kind of a Wes Anderson film, right? Like those are really romantic themes and decor. So like pick a day and just color code it, right? And nobody has to know but you. But like your whole outfit is different shades of pink, and every meal and beverage you have is different shades of pink, right? Like
I love it so much.
And like look for things in your day, kind of play I Spy with yourself and don't tell anybody, right? This is or pick a character you want to be or a certain style, or and that's where thrift store can come in, and then just like really go for it that day and like just try it on, just try it out, try it. And
this is reminding me of when we did the Divine Feminine show and I shared the different for your outfit that you could choose to be like these different things, like a steampunk fairy, or
like a little wheel that you spun, built your character for the day.
Do that.
Romanticizing your life. Yeah. I love that. So playlists, dinners, and not only dinners. So I started looking forward to this fall going out to dinners with friends and getting like mocktails or cocktails and just like a little drink. And then as winter came, less and less people can do that with each other. And so I was finding again, like Saturdays just felt really long as a single person. And no matter how much you put in your day, the nights are just lonelier. And I have no problem going out by myself, but it's also still, the pandemic and it's winter and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So now I was like, I can make fancy cocktails for one.
It's a thing.
Right? Like if I want like this fancy thing with the flour in a cup and a fancy cup and elderberry syrup, I can do that. I don't have to go to this, if I want to like have a Hawaiian themed night, I don't have to wait until somebody can go to the Savage restaurant with me that I read about in the paper. Like I can make that happen at home, right? Like I can take these things that we look forward to, or we try these situations we try and build, and I can build that in my own way at home. And then it's kind of more fun because then you also get to enjoy the planning and the prepping. Well, if you're like me, I really like planning things. But then also, so you can create a collection, and then during your day, you look for things that can be a part of that collection. Ooh. And so maybe not every day you'll find something, but or even sometimes it's okay to share it with others. Like my mom has a collection of like rocks that are shaped by hearts.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't realize this until it's happened to be twice now. I've been out with other people, and it's such a thing I kind of look for when I'm like out and about with people, that I've had two different friends separate from each other be like, oh, that's a heart-shaped rock. Should we get it for your mom? Do you think that's heart-shaped enough? Right. And so it's like these little moments.
Sweet.
Or otherwise, we were just kind of walking along to our destination, and it just would have been like mundane from parking garage to restaurant or whatever. And here it's like, oh, there's a heart. Or I had a friend.
So you created it, you also created this cool thing for other people.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I lost a friend a few years ago, and her family, whenever they see hearts places, it makes them think of her. So now when I see stuff, I'll send it to them. And so that's kind of a way I get to think of her. I get to think of them. And again, it just makes like I'm on a break during an 8-hour work training that I'm not enthused about. And now I'm on the hunt for like, is there a graffiti heart? Can I find a flower that's shaped like a heart? Things like that. And then again, it's that Amelie concept of you can surprise somebody else because they don't know I'm looking for it.
Yeah.
You can, and I was joking earlier that you were Miss Jacqueline Onassis Kennedy with your pearls on for this episode.
Yes.
But you could create signature jewelry for yourself, and then that's
okay. I'm all in on that.
Right? Like find a piece, and you can even do it something that's more unique, like a brooch. I used to have this winter coat with this beautiful brooch on it, and I didn't do it because everybody commented on it, but it was just like, it was a signature piece. And I don't even know how I acquired it. And I was just so love torn, Lauren, when I lost it, when it came off of a coat somewhere. And then I decided like somebody else, like it's like a tarot card deck. Somebody else just needed it more, right? Like our crystals and rocks and pretty things find the people they need in the world.
Exactly.
But it was like something that I took pride in. And when I put my coat on every morning, even though it was winter and it was gray, it put a smile on my face when I was getting ready to leave.
Well, and that's all a part of it, right? For these things to put a smile on your face.
Put a smile on your face.
Yeah.
It's turning the mundane to beautiful.
Yeah.
And then, creating a dream morning routine, having a bougie breakfast. Like I've started one day every work week. If I don't have a morning meeting, I go out to breakfast. I start my work day a little bit later, or a different day I work later. Maybe I don't take lunch, but like there's so many breakfast restaurants I want to try in the Twin Cities. I'm just always waiting for people to be available on a weekend. And finally I was like, you can go to breakfast for yourself. Like you eat food every day.
That's right.
And like, don't just get your usual, right? Like get the fancy sandwich, get the fluffy pancakes, get your waffle, like have a fancy coffee or drink with it.
No oatmeal.
And then you bring this up all the time, but like have a little dance party.
I love it.
Right. I start on my bright and shiny days. And when I'm really intentional with my life, I try and start my morning with like a little 3-minute dance. I pick a song and like just dance it up. And it's just, it gets you moving. It gets you excited. It's usually music you like. I hope it is.
Right. I'm always, when I clean, because we've shared this before, I play music throughout the house as I clean. And there are always times with whatever song, like I am some kind of prima ballerina jazz hip hop artist that you've never ever seen.
Well, but even outside of that, so talk about, that's my favorite example that you do, taking the mundane to beautiful. It's not I'm cleaning my house on Sunday, I can't do things. It's I'm blessing my house on Sundays. And I don't do anything else.
We don't. This is the day it's the morning. It's like we give this to the house. It's almost like a gift to the house.
We give this to the house?
Well, I have a relationship with my house.
There's a chef on the Food Network, Bobby Flay, who one of his shows is like traveling the world and trying food and getting filmed about it, right?
Yeah.
And so they're all saying what they want to eat and all that. And everybody picks their appetizers and meals to order. And then he's like, no, we got to get this appetizer. The table is hungry. So not the table in terms of the 6 people at the table, but he's like, you've got to feed the table. And I was like, what a great way to like look at going out and just kind of reframing it from this thing. Oh, I love it. It's a gift to the house. Okay. So whether or not you have a partner, as I'm going to start something my friend Darcy, who I mentioned in the last episode, shared with me. You are always in a relationship with yourself.
Yes.
So how can you romanticize your life with you and make yourself feel special and excited every day?
I love that. Thank you for this episode. If this episode spoke to your soul, please share it with a friend. And if you have time, give us some love on your preferred platform with a rate, review, and subscribe. You can also reach out to us via Instagram and YouTube under The Brightly Podcast or via email at brightlypodcast@gmail.com.
And with that, we hope you have a bright, beautiful, and romantic day.
Ooh la la.